Alrighty, so news of the week episode on this Sunday afternoon, as we are now a week into the off season, and the silly season of MLS continues with a lot of transfer rumors and signing, and also we saw the re-entry draft happen just a couple of days ago, which we'll talk about which teams select players in the re-entry draft. But the first news we're going to talk about came from Vancouver, as it is now confirmed that the Vancouver Whitecaps have decided that they are going to sell the team. Now, there is a bit of a mixed reaction in terms of this news, especially from Whitecaps fan. On one hand, Whitecaps fans are happy the fact that the current ownership is going to sell to another ownership because for a long time the Whitecaps fans have been very frustrated in terms of this ownership being one of the cheaper ownership around the league, not being able to spend as much as they want this ownership to do so. But on the other hand, there is definitely that concern, the fact that, well, who exactly is going to actually pony up around $500 million that it seems like that's the reported price that this current ownership group is willing to sell to a team, and especially with them being in the Canadian market, it does get a little bit more tricky compared to what we see in an American market as well. But yeah, there are definitely people that are concerned that the Whitecaps might relocate. Though again, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think MLS is going to let the third biggest market in Canada to just go like that, and especially if there is going to be report of relocation and so forth. Most likely, my thinking is that they might relocate to Las Vegas because the league have mentioned that they want to put a team in Las Vegas, even though there hasn't been a lot of rumors about that potentially be the case. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have another save the crew situation. And, this time it will be basically the save the cap situation. I'm pretty sure Whitecaps fans and the general public of MLS will try their best to make sure that teams stay in Vancouver. And while it was very successful in Columbus, if it does get to that moment, we shall see if they would find the eventually the right ownership to pony up the team. But either way, this is kind of interesting. And again, anytime when you have a team decide to sell the team, it's going to be for a big amount of money, especially of how lucrative nowadays with the league being grown at the rate and the money that's being generated nowadays in the league. Now, speaking of MLS still, so there's some more bad news when it comes to the ratings in MLS Cup, as it is reported that it saw a 47% broadcast audience drop compared to previous seasons. So that includes both Apple TV and the linear TV deal. Now, obviously, we can easily have a discussion in terms of the Apple TV deal in MLS. In fact, I'll probably make a video in the near future talk about this and whether or not if this is actually benefit to MLS, or is this started to become a big disadvantage, especially driving away some of the casual fan. One of the thing I've always hear about Apple TV being the main broadcast of these MLS games is that it's now driven those casual fans away, because the casual fans are not gonna pay huge amount of money to subscribe to the service. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like a lot with $99 per year, and I think it's like 14.99 or something, or 10.99 in terms of per month. When you consider that there's already a lot of streaming service that the general folks here in the U.S. are already paying for. I mean, I don't know if those casual fans would want to decide to pay that amount as well. But that being said, I think the biggest reason, in my opinion, I think the biggest reason why we're seeing a big broadcast audience drop is mainly because the playoff format has been just been a huge problem. Again, the issue with the current playoff format is that when you have a stretch between the first round and the second round, and there's like a 2 week break in between, it really just kind of not only kills the momentum of the teams as well, but it also killed the general interest of the fans. Like, your casual fans is not going to wait 2 weeks until the playoffs are restarted, and not to mention the marketing of this MLS Cup playoffs. It's been very poor. I mean, I think they have done a really poor job in terms of some marketing this. I mean, I know they have spent a lot of money marketing in terms of Messi being in the playoffs. And there's no doubt that I would say if Miami actually did go a little further in the playoffs, there's no doubt the broadcast audience and the ratings is going to go up, and we're not going to see a drop. There's a reason why I said that in the game between Inter Miami and Atlanta, Atlanta winning might be great for the average neutral in MLS and just the general fans in MLS to see that spectacular failure. But overall, it's kind of damaging because now the ratings are going to be absolutely tanked with the fact that Messi and friends and his team is not going to be able to making the next round, and the eyeball is gonna immediately drop off in terms of this playoff as well. But yeah, overall, I think the playoff format is a big blame for this, and there's no doubt that I feel like they need to do something about that. I have heard rumors that they are going to try to do so, but until then, this is going to be something we're going to continue to see, and everybody don't like this playoff format. The players, the fans, and the coaches, they don't like this format whatsoever because it just almost feel like it's not only a gimme kind of format, but it's absolutely horrendous. The fact that we should have a situation where a team can be red hot coming out of the first round, and then they have to wait 2 weeks, and that momentum just completely snatched away by the time we get to the second round of the playoffs. Now, moving on in terms of the next news, and now talk about some of the signings. So we saw one signing this week as the New England Revolution have signed Brian Cabello from Fort Zella, and again, this is not a big surprise. We have talked about this signings before potentially coming true, and indeed it is. And New England is definitely trying to reshape their back line a little bit, and especially they have got rid of a couple of their dead weight when they decided to sell some of the players that were part of the Bruce Arena time, with the likes of Ian Harkes, Dave Romney, and Mark FDK all going to Bruce Arena new team, the San Jose Earthquakes. It just feels like this is now Caleb Porter's team, and that they're trying to reshape this team to get themselves back to be a contender. And one of the things that they desperately need is defensive help. They were one of the worst defensive team last season, and from what I heard, this is a good player that can really solidify the back, and that's what New England is hoping that is the case. Now, in terms of the re-entry draft that we saw a couple of days ago, so we have three notable players that got picked up in the re-entry draft. We saw Minnesota United select Kip Keller, San Diego FC select Jacob Jackson, and in RSL select Foster Ayago in the re-entry draft. Now, starting with Kip Keller going to Minnesota, I actually like this move. I mean, I know Kip Keller. There's been a lot of criticism, especially from what happened in that first game when he play against St. Louis, and how that was a disastrous class. And I feel like that game has really kind of ruined his reputation. And in some way, I do think that it was kind of a little bit harsh for Austin just kind of pull the plug on Kip Keller after just that one game specifically. I mean, all defenders will have a bad game there and there, and it's unfortunate that was kind of the cases, especially with him making his debut. That was probably the worst possible debut he could make. But during his time with Cincinnati, I think he has gone a lot better, definitely more mature at the back, not making the same mistake that he did when he was with Austin FC. And I think he was a good backup option for this Minnesota team that, defensively, I've said before that still feel like this team needs some defensive help, and getting a guy that definitely still have some potential to be a good defender. It's a good move from this Minnesota United team. Now for San Diego, they of course got Jacob Jackson, and he of course played for the San Jose Earthquakes as kind of a backup goalkeeper. He did make a couple appearances last season as well. I didn't think he was that spectacular. He's kind of a bit of a backup goalkeeper in my opinion. And this is kind of the thing about San Diego when you look at the goalkeeping situation. So far, they sign that guy called Duran. I forgot what his last name is, but then they also got CJ Dos Santos via trade from Inter Miami. Or actually, did he get traded? Yeah, it was a trade that San Diego has got for CJ Dos Santos, and then they now select another goalkeeper. And again, we have seen before where MLS teams that are expansion team that decided to get kind of a goalkeeper that is a little bit unknown, maybe be a backup goalkeeper for a certain team, and they turns out to do so well. So it's gonna be interesting to see who exactly is gonna be the starting goalkeeper for this San Diego team, because I was thinking that they might go big when it comes to getting a goalkeeper in net, but so far they decided to get these three players that are kind of fringe starters in MLS, in my opinion, and we'll see whether that course will work out. And then RSL, of course, selecting Froster Ayago. I don't think Froster Ayago got enough minutes for Nashville, and part of that is because of the fact that Nashville is a team that, with Gary Smith team, he never really get the youngster a lot of chance, and even though when Gary Smith was no longer there, when BJ Callen took over, I don't think Ayago got as many minutes as I think he did. He did really good in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Now, that being said, Nashville was playing some very easy team in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, but still, he did really well. That I thought he could be a guy that could be a backup player to Sam Sturridge, but now getting a new change of scenery, and in a team that I do think that he's still going to be a backup player to Chicho Arango. And I know RSL fans don't want to see Chicho Arango up front, but I do think that, hopefully whatever happened to Chicho Arango in the second half of the season, hopefully that will get all cleared up, because it's hard to believe how much he fell off in the second half of the season. And I've already mentioned he has just been not the complete same player ever since that suspension that he has. Like, whatever he did in that suspension, I don't know what he did to cause all his confidence and all his foreign ability that he showed in the first half of the season completely wiped the way. But still, get a new change of scenery, even as a backup role. He's still a guy that definitely has a high ceiling and a low floor as well, kind of player. Now, moving on, talk about contract extension. So we got a couple of players signing contract extension with their respective teams, starting with FC Dallas signing Alan Velasco to a contract extension. Now, obviously, last year, Alan Velasco still just coming back from that torn ACL that he suffered in the playoffs against Seattle back in 2023, and it was pretty clear that he didn't look like his old self when he come back. When you suffer a torn ACL, it's gonna take a while before you can get yourself back to being your old self. And in many ways, sometimes players are just not going to be the same player after the torn ACL. So I will say that as the season goes along, it seems like Velasco's starting to look like his old self a little bit, and that they're banking the fact that he can be back to his old self heading into next season. Because prior to the torn ACL injury, Alan Velasco was one of the better number 10 in the league, and a guy that there was a lot of talks that he was going to be the next big money sell that Dallas was going to offload, and he can still be that player if he can rediscover that good form that he has prior to that torn ACL injury that he suffered just about 2 years ago. Now, Atlanta United, they have signed Jamar TRA and Ronald Hernandez to a contract extension. Not a big surprise. Jamar TRA, he will always be known for the heroics that he did against Inter Miami, that brace that he scored in the pivotal game number 3. Even though I know that those 2 goals that he scored in the second he scored wasn't the game winner, but yeah, I mean, he just completely flipped the script in that game, and a guy that has at times terrorized this Inter Miami team as well. Besides that game, um, but for Ronald Hernandez, this is an interesting one. I mean, he's more of a utility kind of player, but I guess my or Atlanta is happy to keep him for another season. And I would say the same goes for Jamar Tiare, that is more kind of a backup role right now as well. I mean, I would never complain when the team decided to re-sign good utility pieces and good depth option, and I think both of these guys are good depth option for this Atlanta United team. Speaking of which, Orlando City have also signed another depth pieces to a contract extension, as they signed Kyle Smith to a new contract extension. And while Kyle Smith doesn't get as much minutes as we've seen but before, I mean, there's no way Orlando City is going to let go of him. He is a fan favorite, especially the story that he has to get to this stage. And it's hard to believe a guy that a couple of years ago, I remember when Orlando City fans don't really want him, because this was kind of an unknown known guy. Who would have thought that this guy would have the second most appearance in Orlando City history by then, and has instantly become a club legend and a cult hero in this Orlando City fan base, along with Rodrigo Schlegel in this team. So no surprise that he signed a contract extension as a result. But moving on, the Chicago Fire, they have loaned Giorgio Koutsias to FC Lugano. So this is another player that the Fire feel like they're gonna send him to their parent club and see how he develop. And in the limited minutes that he was with the Fire, he has definitely shown some good potential. And he's actually gonna go to a club that is doing very well in the Swiss league. I mean, people might not know, but FC Lugano is actually leading the Swiss league right now. Like people always talk about, oh, the Swiss league, that's the league that Basel probably dominate, and occasionally maybe BSC Young Boys dominate that league as well. But FC Lugano is actually at the top of the Swiss league right now, and that is also the same team that Kasper Schmeichel is currently in. I think he's done a very good job during that time. So for Kutsias, I mean, it's kind of a good thing. The fact that he's going from a club that is simply one of the most cursed team right now in MLS to a team that could be fresh off of a Swiss league title and can maybe even get some Champions League experience if FC Lugano make it to that stage. Now, moving on in terms of the next news, I talk about some injury news. So one notable injury news: Duncan McGuire is undergoing a shoulder surgery, and he's going to be set to miss the beginning of next season, set to miss 4 to 5 months. So yeah, that's a bit of a setback for Orlando City. But if there's one thing I will say, if you're going to have to miss a big amount of time and you have to undergo surgery, do it in the offseason. It was pretty clear that I think Duncan McGuire might be playing hurt throughout the playoffs, and we've seen this before where players are they're gonna soldier through the playoffs. They might think about worry about that in the offseason, maybe undergo go the knife to repair whatever in the offseason. But in the playoffs, they're not gonna just decided to report out and decided that they're too hurt to play there. And I think Duncan McGuire again, it kind of he didn't really have as much impact in the playoffs as we saw in throughout the season, and maybe this is kind of the reason. I think he was definitely playing hurt, and while it's a bit of a blow, the fact that he's going to be missing 4 to 5 months, at least Orlando don't have to worry about that injury, and that again he's only going to be missing the first couple of months of the season. He should be back with this team by the time we hit the month of May. Now, the Chicago Fire has reported to finalize a deal to sign Jack Elliott from the Philadelphia Union. Now, this is definitely it could be a blockbuster move considering that Jack Elliott has been with the Union for a very long time. And again, I've said this before with the Philadelphia Union. I think this offseason, you kind of had a sense that this is not only they're going for a transitional period, but they're started to tear down the core. I've said it with the way that they with the current core that they had, it just doesn't feel like this current core is going to be enough to guide this team to an MLS Cup laureate like they've been wanted to do. And yeah, I know Union fans don't like this. They selling a guy that has been with the team for a very long time. He's been with this team almost since day one when he got drafted from the Union way back. But yeah, it seems like the Union have made the decision that they're going to reshape the back line. They're not going to keep the Elliott and Glesnes partnership. And Jack Elliott, even though he had a down year last season, I mean that whole back line for the Union had a down year. He's still a guy that is considered one of the top tier defender in the league, and if he can rediscover that good form with the Fire, yeah, this would be a very good signing for the Chicago Fire. Though again, it would be interesting to see how many Gabber buck would the Fire to have to pay for the service of Jack Elliott. I'm assuming it's probably going to be up there near the $1 million range that the Union wants from the Chicago Fire in order to trade him, Jack Elliott, to the Chicago Fire. Now, there is reports suggesting that Palmeiras is actually now close to secure a deal to sign Facundo Torres from Orlando City. So this is kind of an interesting one because we're getting this interesting saga with Facundo Torres of the fact that he was going to Palmeiras, and then it looks like Cruz Azul was going to hijack the deal. But now it seems like that is not going to be the case, and indeed he's going to sign with Palmeiras. Either way, I think this is a good deal for Orlando City. Yes, I know they're going to lose a key player on their attack, but for the money that they're going to get, I mean, you just simply can't say no to that, and you just hope that Orlando City may be able to reinvest that and maybe can get another good decent player as well. But either way, for what it is with Orlando City getting Facundo Torres and selling him for not only for a net positive but a huge net positive as well. That's what what the league wants with these teams. They want one of these teams to develop some good talent and eventually sell them all for a big sum of money. And even though this is not one of those moves that they're selling them to Europe for a big sum of money, he is joining a team that is considered one of the best team in the Brazilian Serie A, and a team that will also be playing in the Club World Cup in the U.S. As well later the next year summer. Now another big player that looked like to be on their way out, but it doesn't seem like that's the case, is Cucho Hernandez. So there is a report suggesting that there was a bit that Columbus decided to accept to send Cucho Hernandez to Rayados. Now this is not the first time that Rayados have decided to sign big name MLS player. We saw that happen with Brandon Vasquez not too long ago, and it seems like they're now going after another big fish in Cucho Hernandez. But unlike Cincinnati, decided to reluctant to not accept the deal that Rayados give for the service of Brendan Vasquez. Yeah, Columbus simply said no. We are not selling Cucho Hernandez, and I don't blame them. I mean, it's going to have to be a significant amount of money to pay Cucho Hernandez off of Columbus hand, especially of the near MVP level kind of year that he has. I mean, some would say that he probably should have been the MVP instead of Lionel Messi, but still, there's no doubt that it seems like that deal is now off, and this actually is reported by Tom Borgert as well. The original report apparently come from a reporter from a La Liga source, and from what I heard, at least from people, trust no source from a La Liga expert, because yeah, usually they're wrong when it comes to. You always want to trust good old Tom Bogert as one of the main expert in MLS when it comes to producing transfer reports and and signings as well. But moving on in the next news, so there is a report suggesting that Kevin Kelsey might be going to the Portland Timbers because the Timbers have acquired the right to refusal to negotiate for FC Cincinnati 4 with Kevin Kelsey, and they're actually going to be renegotiating with Shakhtar Donetsk because Shakhtar Donetsk still has the right to Kevin Kelsey after they decide to loan him to Cincinnati. Now this is kind of an interesting one considering that Kevin Kelsey when he came to Cincinnati, he definitely light up the league a bit to a point where it feels like Cincinnati got an incredible like to like replacement to Brandon Vasquez and also Aaron Bupenza. It didn't quite work out that way. His production definitely slowed down a bit. No, he definitely still has a high ceiling. He can still be a good goal scorer, and especially now that he can be going to a Timbers team that when you get the service of Evander, one of the best number 10 in the league. I mean, that might be a team you want to join as a goal scorer. Like goal scorers and four always likes to join a team that not only have a really good attack but also have a creative player that can give them the ball and set them up. So yeah, I think. I mean, not saying that Kevin Kelsey don't shouldn't leave Cincinnati. I mean, you also have a guy named Lucho Acosta providing you service as well. But I don't think it's going to be a huge drop off if he decided to go to the Timbers, and especially like I said, he's going to have the service of Evander providing him some great balls to potentially sit home. But what we'll see whether or not if this deal will be made. And again, he's a player that he can definitely be potentially a good player. And I will say that for the Timbers, for this off season, I'm surprised they still haven't had a rumors of them fixing the defense. I mean, as much as they want to continue to improve their attack. The obvious problem with this Timbers team has been on the defensive front. It's been a problem for the last couple of years, and the fact that they haven't addressed it, I mean, I'm kind of surprised, and I'm pretty sure Timbers fans are probably surprised too, and a little bit disappointed too as well, because that's the reason why they 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 have been have came nowhere near to where they were a couple of years ago in MLS Cup. And then San Diego FC have announced that they actually broke the record for the most jerseys sold in 24 hours. So now we're moving away in terms of talk about transfer rumor and signings and talk about general news. And again, one of the first general news is that San Diego has says that they have broke the record for the most jerseys sold in 24 hours. Now I know the jersey that they released. There's been a little bit of a backlash that say that jersey doesn't look very good. And even some fans, especially former San Diego loyal fans, are basically comparing that to the one that they used to have, and that's a huge downgrade as well. The bottom line is there's no doubt San Diego FC has generated a lot of interest. I also have heard that there were some people saying that this team might not generate a lot of interest. I don't think so. I think this team is going to generate a lot of interest. I mean, San Diego is a very good sports town. I mean, I know people will say, well, what about the Chargers? I mean, when the Chargers were there, they weren't uh they weren't really supportive. Well, that's mainly because there was a guy called Dean Spanos, and he's considered one of the worst owner in the NFL being there, and by the time when they decided to move to LA, there's already a lot of Chargers fans are not happy about that, and eventually decide to distance their away from their from the team. But now it seems like those same fans have really started to root for the Padres. I mean, you look at the Padres and how they're one of the most attended team in the MLB. San Diego can definitely root for a sports team, and especially for a very long time now that there's been a lot of talks of bringing another team in Southern California, and especially a city that the soccer culture there is as strong as it can be, and that I think San Diego not only uh now breaking the record for the most jerseys sold, but they can definitely have pretty much almost every single game being sold out at Snapdragon Stadium. Keep in mind, Snapdragon Stadium can hold, I think, around 35,000 plus. I would not be surprised they might be averaging that at attendance throughout the season, because again, this we usually see this happen with expansion team getting the hype. But most importantly, I think San Diego will definitely be behind this team, even if some people say they're a little bit skeptical in terms of that. Now, there is a report suggesting that the 2025 MLS schedule will be released next Thursday. Now, this is a very big skip. This is them because again, this is a report that is kind of in an in a source that is kind of unknown, and especially with the way that MLS, when it comes to the schedule release, they always announce like the season opener and the home opener for every single team in the beginning before they actually release the full schedule. I've doubt the fact that the schedule would be released on December 19th. Now, if it does release on December 19th, then yay, because that's always the most exciting time being an MLS fan, seeing all which team are going to be playing. That also is kind of the time where I start maybe thinking about plans of which game I could attend, especially which home game that I'll attend for Minnesota United. But yeah, obviously it'll be interesting to see whether or not if the schedule will indeed release Thursday. And also, I know there's a lot of Western Conference fans are just kind of almost praying that Miami will come to their team and they get to see Messi in person. I mean, again, we'll see whether or not if I'm assuming the format is still going to be the same, or at least close to being it, even with San Diego coming into the league. The fact that I think these Western Conference team will at least get to host free Eastern com- conference team at home, and I'm pretty sure all these teams, especially the front office for all these Western Conference team, are hoping that Inter Miami will get a home date, because we know that generates a lot revenue, and that we'll see whether or not if that is going to be the case if the schedule does release on December 19th. And then finally, last news in this news of the week. So just want to give a quick shout out to Dax McCarty, of course, joining the MLS season pass crew. This is not a big surprise. Dax McCarty has made some limited appearance with the MLS season pass crews as well, and doing his limited appearance, I actually like. I think he fits perfectly. He provides some really good inside during his limited time being there, and this is not a big surprise. And not to mention, he actually did join the crew throughout the remaining of the playoffs once Atlanta got eliminated. That it just feels like this fits him perfectly with his great personality and his great insight as well. And yeah, there you go. Great to see that he has joined there, and I'm still planning to do a career video of Dax McCarty as well, because what a career that Dax McCarty has had. He's going to go down as one of the greatest defensive midfielder we have ever seen in the league, especially the longevity that he has in this league as well. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure guys you like, smash the subscribe button. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this news of the week episode, and if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.